Hi, this is Dawn Wells. Guess what we're listening to? TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson, welcoming you back to TV Confidential radio talk show about television. Is always happy to talk to Ed Asner. Ed Asner, the Emmy Award-winning star of the Memoirs show, and Lou Grant. Ed recently completed production of Briarpatch. Briarpatch, a new series for the USA Network that is expected to premiere sometime soon. In the meantime, Ed is on the East Coast as we have this conversation. He is in the midst of touring both God Help Us, the political comedy in which Ed plays God Almighty, and A Man and His Prostate, the critically acclaimed one-man show that was written by Ed's longtime friend and fellow Mary Tyler Moore Show collaborator, Ed Weinberger. We will tell you where Ed will be performing both plays in just a second, but first, we began our conversation by telling Ed, you're doing both your plays right now. You're doing Man and His Prostate, and you're doing God Help Us at a number of events, both over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is it hard to go back and forth between two different plays when you're performing them more or less at the same time?
No. They're comedies, so I don't have to seal myself off from the rest of the world. And can easily dip in and take on the character as the page dictates.
Plus, you've been doing these much for the last couple of years, so they're familiar to you. It's not like you're revisiting something you did 30 years ago.
Right.
Of course, Ed wears a Dodger cap as part of his character in Man and His Prostate, and as we record this conversation, the Dodgers are a week away from starting the playoffs. Are they going to do it this year?
I've been out of town touring so much, I couldn't tell you. Vegas, what's the record like?
They won their 100th game the other night, so they have like 101 wins with 5 games left, and they clinched the home field throughout both rounds of the playoffs should they go that far.
And who are they going to be up against, Houston?
Well, they would likely face the winner of the wild card team in the first round. So that would either be Washington or Milwaukee as things play out.
Well, what do you attribute their excellence to?
Oh, well, they're having a phenomenal home record, that's for sure. And they hit a lot of home runs, but they've really become like a modern team in that pretty much everyone from 1 to 9 in the lineup, they work the count. And even if you get them out, as a pitcher, you got to throw about 8 or 10 pitches, and that wears you down.
That's nice.
Yeah, of course, what you're doing right now with both God Help Us and Man and His Prostate, doing live theater, that goes back to your roots. When you first started your career, you were doing theater all the time in Chicago.
Yeah, and I did it in New York. And I went on New York and ended up doing three-penny opera for 3 years.
There's nothing like performing in front of a live audience, isn't there?
Well, you draw strength from them. It's your spinach.
The audience is new every night, and the audience tells you what's funny and what's not funny, and, you listen to the audience, and if you have to, you make adjustments. Yeah. What makes a good audience for you?
People who dig it, who are with it, who get the occasional subtleties. You always appreciate that.
Do you meet and greet the audience at the end of the show?
Not every show.
Not every show. Okay, well, I ask because you're either going to take Man and His Prostate or God Help Us. You're going to take one of those shows to Irvine next month, and I'm in Pasadena, so I might make the drive to Irvine and see one of your shows.
Oh, good. Well, you're going to present yourself to me, aren't you?
I am. I figure this is as close to Pasadena as I'm going to get, so I want to see one of the shows so I can dig it and tell you about it afterwards.
Where are you located?
I'm in South Pasadena. I'm about 10 minutes away from the Playhouse.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's very humid right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you had rain?
Not rain, although it feels like a Florida day in L.A., if that makes sense. Of course, you're in New York. Autumn in New York is like the best time to be there.
Oh, it's good. It's beautiful outside.
Yeah, it's been many years since I've been in New York, but I usually try to go there like September, October.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
We're talking to legendary actor Ed Asner. Ed is currently starring as God Almighty in God Help Us. God Help Us, a new stage play that speaks to audiences of all political persuasions. God Help Us promises to make you laugh and make you think. It also provides hope for the future, provided that we all listen to one another. Ed Asner will be performing God Help Us at the Billings Studio Theater in Billings, Montana on October 4th, 5th, and 6th. He will then return east and perform it at the Lebanon Opera House in New Hampshire on Thursday, October 10th, the Eastport Arts Center in Maine on Saturday, October 12th, the Strathspey Performing Arts Center in Nova Scotia, Canada on Friday, October 18th, and then, looking further ahead, he will bring it to the Hampton Arts Center in Hampton Arts, Virginia on April 25th and April 26th, 2020. To learn more about God Help Us and to find out how to book the play at a playhouse near you, go to godhelpus.net, godhelpus.net. We mentioned that Ed is also touring his critically acclaimed one-man show, A Man and His Prostate. A Man and His Prostate has been described as the vagina monologues for men. Ed Asner will be bringing A Man and His Prostate to the Strathspey Performing Arts Center in Nova Scotia, Canada on Saturday, October 19th. He'll then bring it to the Imperial Theatre in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada on Thursday, October 24th. The United Solo Theater Festival at the Studio Theater in New York City on Friday, November 1st. The Merage Jewish Community Center in Irvine, California on Saturday, November 9th. The Regent Theater in Arlington, Massachusetts on Saturday, November 16th and Sunday, November 17th. The Millbrook Community Players Theater in Millbrook, Alabama on Thursday, November 21st, and the Earl and Rachel Smith Strand Theater in Marietta, Georgia, November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. A Man and His Prostate is written and produced by Ed's longtime friend and fellow Mary Tyler Moore Show collaborator, Ed Weinberger. For more information, go to amanandhisprostate.com, amanandhisprostate.com. Last time you were on, Ed, we talked a little bit about your experience on some of the old Quinn Martin shows like the FBI, but I know you did a couple of Fugitives with David Janssen. Do you have any memories of working with David Janssen?
I did about 4 or 5. I like David a lot, but I always felt that his characterization of his character was too suspicious making. He always seemed guilty, and I thought he should play against that. So I disagree with him.
Well, sometimes you have to work with what's on the page, although I know what you mean, because he always seemed to be looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He can never quite relax.
Yeah.
Although I understand when he wasn't being the fugitive, he was one of the funniest guys in the industry.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was.
I was also told that Janssen was one of the fastest. He almost had a photographic memory in that he could look at the script or he could look at his sides and he would know his lines almost immediately.
Well, bring him on and let's test it. I won't accept that.
Okay, you won't accept that. All right.
I've read that about a number of people.
Well, for you, about how long does it take for you to commit something from memory, or does it depend on the character or what you're asked to do?
Depends how rested I am, how interested I am, what the dialogue has to say. I can take a lot of it, but it varies with every character.
Plus, I would imagine if you're learning dialogue versus exposition, I would imagine dialogue's probably a little easier to get familiar with than exposition.
Yeah.
What do you look for these days when a character comes your way, Ed? What do you look for?
If he's getting laid.
Of course, Ed did a movie a couple of years ago with our mutual friend Deborah Pearl called Getting Ed Laid.
Yeah, I did. And I never laid a finger on it.
I understand that you recently finished production on a USA Network show called Briarpatch.
Yeah, it was not a show, it was a series.
Okay, it's a series. I haven't read the novel on which it's based, but I know it's based on a novel by Rob Thomas. When you do something that's based on a novel, do you approach it differently than you would if it were written specifically for the screen? Or again, does it depend on the character?
I didn't know it was a novel.
Okay, you just worked with the story and the character that you were given.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a very fascinating job for me because an old acquaintance, David Paymer,
Mm-hmm.
was playing my son. And there came a time, second or third show, and there was a big party scene going on. Everybody else was talking. So they put cameras on us, and they let the cameras roll for probably about 10 minutes. Well, David and I ad-libbed and improvised the reactions to the speakers, the reactions to each other. They seem to love it. Whether they'll use it or not, I don't know.
Well, we will find out soon enough, because I understand Briarpatch will premiere sometime in 2020. But I would imagine, I mean, I'm not an actor. I just talk to actors.
No, I think somebody up in Boston area, somebody already reviewed it.
Well, I would imagine that when you're given a chance to go off page, that's good, because it shows that the actors and the director trust what you bring as Ed Asner to the character.
Yeah. And I don't know if they were weak of the limbs or what, but they wanted to get that added footage.
Well, we will look forward to that. I understand that one of the things you got coming down the pike is a film called The Gettysburg Address, and I know what a scholar of history you are. I would imagine that you were proud to be part of that project.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay, then I got my information wrong.
With my pants down.
Say again?
I'm afraid you caught me with my pants down.
Oh, we don't want that. No, I was going off of your IMDb credit.
Oh.
It goes to show you can't always trust IMDb. You've got to trust the source.
No, you can't.
Okay. So I will disregard that question, and you can pull your pants back up.
Or contact the producers, if they exist, and demand from them a copy of what they filmed. And that way I'll know whether I did it or not.
There you go. There you go. I imagine it's always good to be in demand. And I guess if you work on several different things, you may not remember what you did, but that's ultimately a good thing because it means you're in demand.
Well, and also if they're going to lie, it's good that they lie about you.
That's right. That's right. Well, in the meantime, we're going to tell the truth. We're talking to Ed Asner. Ed is currently starring as God Almighty in God Help Us, a new stage play that speaks to audiences of all political persuasion. God Help Us promises to make you laugh and make you think. It also provides hope for the future, provided that we all listen to each other. God Help Us is playing in venues across the East Coast in Canada over the next several weeks. To learn more about God Help Us, to find out how to book the play to a playhouse near you, go to godhelpus.net. I have an email question for you, Ed. Is it okay if I ask you?
Sure.
This is an email question from one of my listeners. And he has a question about your voiceover work, because you've done a lot of voiceover work over the last 20 years as well. So this is from David in Plant City, Florida. Now, again, this is according to IMDb, and we just said you can't always trust IMDb, but David says IMDb says you did work on a Zorro cartoon in the late 90s. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean I could have done one episode, and I forgot about it. So
that's true.
That far away, I may have forgotten about it, so I won't say for sure yes or no.
All right. Well, a little more recently than that, David asks, you did an episode of the Cobra Kai show within the last year or so.
The what show?
Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this month or next month.
Okay.
I'm going to go down to Atlanta and do it again.
Did you know that it was based on the Karate Kid movies?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm guessing that the audience reacted well to your performance the first time, which is why you're going to do the show again.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they think I'm brilliant.
Well, who doesn't think you're brilliant?
Oh, sure. now you tell me.
We're talking to legendary actor Ed Asner. Ed is currently starring as God Almighty in God Help Us. God Help Us, a new stage play that speaks to audiences of all political persuasions. Ed Asner will be performing God Help Us at the Billings Studio Theater in Billings, Montana on October 4th, 5th, and 6th. He will then return east and perform it at the Lebanon Opera House in New Hampshire on Thursday, October 10th, the Eastport Arts Center in Maine on Saturday, October 12th, the Strathspey Performing Arts Center in Nova Scotia, Canada on Friday, October 18th, and then, looking further ahead, he will bring it to the Hampton Arts Center in Hampton Arts, Virginia on April 25th and April 26th, 2020. To learn more about God Help Us, go to godhelpus.net. We mentioned that Ed is also touring his critically acclaimed one-man show, A Man and His Prostate. Ed Asner will be bringing A Man and His Prostate to the Strathspey Performing Arts Center in Nova Scotia, Canada on Saturday, October 19th, the Imperial Theatre in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada on Thursday, October 24th, the United Solo Theatre Festival at the Studio Theatre in New York City on Friday, November 1st, the Merage Jewish Community Center in Irvine, California on Saturday, November 9th, the Regent Theatre in Arlington, Massachusetts on Saturday, November 16th and Sunday, November 17th, the Millbrook Community Players Theatre in Millbrook, Alabama on Thursday, November 21st, and the Earl and Rachel Smith Strand Theatre in Marietta, Georgia, on November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. A Man and His Prostate is written and produced by Ed's longtime friend and fellow Mary Tyler Moore Show collaborator, Ed Weinberger. For more information, go to amanandhisprostate.com. Ed Asner and Ed Weinberger also collaborated on The Grouchy Historian. The Grouchy Historian is available in hardcover, paperback, and as an ebook through Simon & Schuster. You can follow Ed Asner on Twitter at the Only Ed Asner. Last time I talked to you, Ed, you mentioned that you were working on your memoirs. Is that still in the works?
Yeah, we're looking for a publisher.
Well, I'm sure you will find a publisher in due time because you have a story to tell, and I know a lot of people want to read it.
Well, I think it's a fairly decent story, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we will keep good thoughts, and I will let you go. I appreciate always the time that you give to me and to my listening audience, and I hope we will talk again very soon on TV Confidential, either when your book comes out or sometime before that.
Great. May it be so. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
I'm going to look for you in Irvine. I'm going to seek you out afterwards.
You better be there.
I will be there.
Okay.
You have a great tour and a great evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ed.
We'll continue our look at This Week in TV History right after this.
Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise.
Ed Robertson, along with her friend Donna Allen Figueroa, who I understand has a new book out.
Yes, it's entitled Fall Again Beginnings. It's the first part of a 4-part contemporary romantic series set against the background of working actors.
Something that you know a thing or two
well,
about.
You write what you know, and I have been working in the business for several years.
It is not necessarily autobiographical, but it's based on...
Sure, many of the experiences that the actors in my book have, many have happened to me, many have happened to friends of mine. It's not, if you're looking for Valley of the Dolls, it's not, it's grounded in reality.
It is grounded in reality, and it's the first in a series.
Yes.
Called the Fall Again series.
Fall Again.
Which is available as a paperback as well as an ebook and in Kindle at fallagainseries.com.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-712-8002. That's 800-712-8002. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.
Offers require credit Credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Hi, this is Titus Welliver. You're listening to TV Confidential.
Attention sports fans, now you can watch every football game you want all season long without leaving your home with Dish for about $50 a month. Compared to your cable bill, you can save almost $600 a year. Call right now and sign up for Dish and watch every football game you want. With Dish, there are no boxes to pay, plus get free installation as soon as tomorrow if you call now. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch your favorite sports and channels on your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Be one of the first 100 orders right now and get a free voice remote. Don't miss a single football game all year long and save a ton of money. Get a free voice remote and free installation as soon as tomorrow. But you gotta call All American Dish right now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.